I'm Mary O'Driscoll. FERC Chairman Neil Chatterjee recently announced a reorganization plan to help improve the natural gas pipeline rehearing process for affected landowners. This builds on a broader plan he announced in September 2019 to help ensure that the Commission's Natural Gas Act siting process, and indeed the entire Commission, is transparent and accessible to the public. Our guest today will break down what this all means. Holly Kafer, Associate General Counsel, who will be leading the new rehearing section in the FERC Office of General Counsel, and Joshua Hurwitz, Head of the Dispute Resolution Service within OGC, which is working to make it easier for landowners to interact with the Commission. Welcome to Open Access, Holly and Josh.
Thanks, Mary. Glad to be here.
Yeah, Mary, we really appreciate being a part of this.
Holly, I'll go to you first. The chairman announced a reorganization of the Office of General Counsel to address the concern that delays in the rehearing process can, in turn, delay the ability of affected landowners to challenge the Commission's pipeline decisions in court. Why did FERC do this reorganization?
First, I want to note that the chairman has been outspoken about his sensitivity to landowner rights and due process. Across the Commission, we take very seriously our responsibility to ensure that all parties, and particularly landowners, have their concerns addressed in a timely manner. Landowners in the path of a pipeline have unique interests, and the Commission understands that protracted administrative delay hampers the ability of landowners to have their concerns heard in court. On that note, it might help to step back and explain the rehearing process. As I mentioned, administrative delay can slow down the ability of parties to bring their concerns to court. That's a function of the statutes under which the Commission operates. Under both the Natural Gas Act and the Federal Power Act, rehearing is a statutory prerequisite to judicial review of Commission orders. At the same time, and again under both of those statutes, the Commission's orders are final and go into effect when they are issued. So that's where the need for timeliness comes in.
I get it. So landowners and others need FERC to act on rehearing before they get to court. So can you tell us about the reorganization itself?
Sure. As you noted, in September 2019, the chairman announced that FERC would work to act on landowner-related rehearing requests of Section 7 certificate orders within 30 days, reducing the use of tolling orders in those cases. Last week, the chairman announced a new initiative aimed at building on and enhancing this process, the creation of a new rehearing section within FERC's Office of the General Counsel. It'll have two separate groups. First, landowner rehearings, which will give first priority to landowner rehearing requests of pipeline certificate orders. And second, general rehearings. We're excited and grateful to have the chairman's and the Commission's support in getting this new section started, and we expect this new structure will position the Commission well to ensure that landowners are able to get to court as quickly as possible.
How many lawyers will you have in this section?
Going back to the chairman's September 2019 announcement of the expedited process for landowner rehearings, OGC designated 3 attorneys with substantial Natural Gas Act expertise to be at the ready for those cases. With the reorganization, we are both formalizing the structure and doubling the size of the dedicated group. As the chairman noted in his announcement last week, this group will have landowner rehearings as their first priority and will work on other rehearing matters only as time permits.
Will this mean adding more lawyers to your group?
Yes, we are already fielding interest from attorneys within the Commission, and if necessary, we will solicit interest from attorneys outside the Commission. And I should note, the Commission relies on multidisciplinary teams to prepare orders addressing requests for rehearing of Section 7 certificates. So the new rehearing section will continue to work collaboratively with our colleagues across the Office of General Counsel and the Office of Energy Projects.
Okay. Following the reorganization, how quickly do you expect to get landowner-related rehearings orders out?
Since the chairman's September announcement, the aim has been, and of course continues to be, to issue landowner-related rehearing orders within 30 days. At the same time, the very purpose of rehearing is to allow the Commission the opportunity to carefully and thoughtfully consider the often complex matters of law and policy that can arise on rehearing. So, we are always balancing the importance of timely decision-making with our responsibility to engage in reasoned decision-making. In other words, to thoroughly consider the parties' arguments on rehearing. And we expect that this reorganization will improve both sides of that equation.
So what does this mean for non-landowner rehearings?
As the Commission noted in a recent brief to the D.C. Circuit, this reorganization likely won't eliminate all concerns about delayed judicial review from all parties, but this should improve the rehearing process as a whole. The Commission has chosen to allocate its resources to ensure the speediest review for those litigants placed in the most vulnerable position by Commission decisions. With the experience we've gained in implementing this expedited process since September, we believe that the reorganization and additional staffing will enhance the Commission's ability to accomplish the goal of getting landowner-related rehearing orders out within 30 days.
Well, thanks so much, Holly. Now, this is all part of how FERC is working to improve how landowners and the public at large interact with the Commission. Josh, you lead the Dispute Resolution Service within the General Counsel's office. I want to get to the issue of Landowner Helpline, but first, can you explain what it is you do in dispute resolution?
Sure, Mary. The Dispute Resolution Service is an independent section that specializes in alternative dispute resolution. We try and find a negotiated solution to problems.
Okay, so how do you do that?
We provide services such as mediation and conciliation to parties engaged in disputes that fall under the Commission's jurisdiction. Our mission is to provide and promote collaborative conflict resolution to prevent and resolve energy and environmental conflicts. As a section, we have two main alternative dispute resolution functions. First, we mediate complex disputes in gas, electric, hydro, and oil, such as rate cases, interconnection agreements, and hydro licensing. Second, we operate the Commission's Landowner Helpline. We also support the Commission's staff and our stakeholders through training on conflict prevention, dispute resolution, and interpersonal communication skills.
Okay, so onto the Landowner Helpline. How does that help landowners?
DRS staff works with landowners and companies who call or email us to informally resolve disputes by facilitating communication between landowners and natural gas pipeline companies. We find that by using our negotiation and communication skills to identify interests and miscommunications, we can help settle many landowner concerns. We're also a voice on the other end of the phone who will direct you to the proper resource, information, or person to resolve the caller's challenge.
Okay, so are you advocates, or do you provide legal assistance, or what?
Landowner Helpline staffers are neutral and independent professional mediators. We do not advocate positions, conduct investigations for the Commission, or provide legal advice. Our role is to serve as a third-party neutral and help people identify and meet their interests. We generally ask that landowners attempt to contact the companies about an issue before contacting us. But if a landowner is unable to get in touch with the pipeline company, or if they're not satisfied with the pipeline company's response, they can contact the Landowner Helpline, and we'll try and open the lines of communication.
Okay, so what kinds of assistance do you provide precisely?
The Landowner Helpline assists landowners with a wide range of concerns, from something like getting them a point of contact at a pipeline company to helping negotiate a damage payment for crop loss.
Okay, so can you give me a few examples of the types of issues you help people with?
Absolutely. We help people with a broad range of issues, but a couple examples would be construction-related concerns and damages, land access issues, for instance, locking gates or notification requests, land restoration issues, revegetation, settling, erosion, drainage concerns, drain tiles, and sometimes noise and vibration issues.
Okay, so what would a successful case look like?
A successful resolution is when a caller has their concerns addressed. If that is a crop issue, restoration issues, fences being left open, our goal is to have the landowner and the company have a good long-term relationship, so any future concerns can be easily addressed.
Okay, so how do landowners find out more about this?
There's some information on the FERC.gov website. Go to the yellow button that says Natural Gas Project Landowners and Stakeholders. Companies are also required to send letters to affected landowners providing our information. But the best way to find out how we can help your situation is to give us a call. We have staff answering the phone between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. If we miss your call, please leave us a message and we'll get back to you within 2 business days.
All right. Well, thanks again, Holly and Josh, for joining us on Open Access.
Thanks, Mary. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Mary.
FERC is an independent regulatory agency that oversees the interstate transmission of electricity, natural gas, and oil, reviews proposals to build interstate natural gas pipelines and liquefied natural gas terminals, and oversees the licensing of non-federal hydropower projects. FERC protects the reliability of the high-voltage interstate transmission system through mandatory reliability standards, and it monitors interstate energy markets to ensure that everyone in those markets is playing by the rules. Unless otherwise noted, the views expressed in these podcasts are personal views and do not necessarily express the views of individual commissioners or the Commission as a whole. The podcast is a production of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission Office of External Affairs, Leonard Tao, Director. We'll be updating our posts when we've got news, so be sure to check out our website, www.ferc.gov, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn to find out when our next podcast airs.